Hello, Dividend Growth Stock investors. Happy Saturday to you. It is Colby, the DGI Crab, and I wanted to collect all of the May dividend increases that were doled out among the 60 stocks that this channel focuses on. For those of you who are new, this channel focuses on 60 high-quality dividend growth stocks split into 4 separate categories or tiers based on the age and the time horizon of the investor, which I believe is the most important metric that any dividend growth stock investor should be taking into consideration when you're piling up that sweet, sweet passive income. Dividend increases are maybe the sweetest form of said passive income because not only is just receiving a dividend payment something that you don't have to do any work for, but then getting a raise on top of that is just that much easier. This is the easiest pay raise of your life, my friends. And if you own any of these stocks that increase their dividends in the month of May, you have that much more passive income hitting your portfolio on a go-forward basis. I'm not a licensed professional financial advisor. You should always do your own due diligence before you invest in anything. So we're going to start here with the tier 1 investors. This is a stock that I consider most appropriate for the 18 to 30-year-old investor. Out of the stocks selected for this tier on the channel, Lowe's was the one and only one in May that announced a dividend increase, and this one admittedly was a disappointment. Lowe's has gone from paying $4.60 per share to $4.80 per share. Now that's annually, mind you. And this represents an increase of just 4.35%. Now, an increase is an increase. Don't get me wrong. We want to see our income going up one way or the other. But for tier 1, for those younger investors age 30 and younger, I really want to see dividend increases in the 10% or above range as a group. Last year, Lowe's did a similar increase to this. They went from 440 to 460. So 2 years in a row now, we've only gotten a dividend increase of 4% and some change out of Lowe's. I've double checked it. The payout ratio is doing just fine. They look like they should be more than capable of growing the dividend faster than this. But if management has decided that they want to be a little bit more conservative on the dividend front here in the short term while we're going through a little bit of market turmoil, then I guess that's just what makes a company like Lowe's a long-standing dividend king with well more than 50 consecutive years of increasing the dividend. Lowe's does not get out over their skis. They haven't had to do a dividend cut, and they haven't failed to do a dividend increase in decade after decade after decade through multiple recessions, crashes, you name it. So we're just going to have to kind of stomach this one, younger investors. Lowe's has not been particularly cheap as a stock for a little while now, so it's not one that I've been actively buying or pitching to anybody out there, but it is a wonderful company, a fantastic stock, probably just right on the outside looking in for my top 10 favorite dividend stocks, but a couple years in a row of 4%, not super thrilled with that. Now, guys, for the tier 2 investors aged 31 to 41, we did not have a single increase in the month of May for that group of 19 stocks. So don't worry about it, tier 2 investors. I'm sure you're going to have a lot to look forward to in June. So just hang in there. You're going to have some increases coming your way. For the tier 3 investors aged 42 to 53, this group of stocks had 2 increases. We got an increase out of Pepsi and one out of Medtronic. Now, Pepsi's increase right about where we want for a tier 3 investor. They go from $5.42 a year per share to $5.69 a year per share. That's a 4.98% dividend increase. We could just call that 5% and call it a day. That's about what I want to see out of the tier 3 stocks, where you're generally buying stuff that's in the low 3% starting yield range up into maybe like the mid 4s or so out of that group. Pepsi yielding in the low to mid 4s right now. It has been my favorite bargain on the market for the last couple of weeks since it's dropped down in share price. And Pepsi sometimes goes even higher than this. Sometimes we get better than 5% out of them. They've been known to do more high single digit dividend increases. With the share price kind of lagging a little bit in the short term right now, that could have been why management decided to maybe pull back just a little bit on their dividend increase, but I'll take a 5% out of anything from tier 3. Very quality stocks. They increase their dividend like clockwork. And then Medtronic goes from $2.80 to $2.84, which represents just a 1.43% dividend increase. Not fantastic, not anything to write home about. Medtronic has been down for, well, if you look at the charts, they've been down really for a couple of years now. They've just kind of been lagging along and doing very, very conservative dividend increases for the last couple of years. I'm hoping Medtronic can sort of right the ship and get back to doing better dividend increases. They were certainly a company that was doing high single-digit percentage dividend increases pretty consistently for quite a long time. Dividend king. Plenty to like about Medtronic and their market share and all of that stuff in the medical equipment field. But man, 1.43% increase, not great. Kind of pulling that tier 3 group down a little bit with these wimpy increases. And then finally for tier 4, these are the stocks for our 54 and older investors, and we've got a really good one here, you guys. Main Street Capital, arguably the best monthly paying dividend stock on the entire stock market. Going to be between that or Realty Income. I might actually have to give the edge to Main Street Capital. As much as I love Realty Income as a stock, Main is just a monthly paying monster that, unlike Realty Income, has also been pretty consistently kicking out special dividends a few times a year in addition to those monthly payments. Now, I'm primarily concerned with the regularly scheduled monthly payments when I'm calculating dividend increases out of Main Street Capital. I consider special dividends to be just that, special occasion, money that's great when you can get it, but not something that you should be counting on, especially as you're trying to use something like this to help fund your retirement. You want to have some very predictable stuff coming in there. Main goes from 25 cents a month per share to 25.5 cents a month per share, which represents a nice clean 2% dividend increase. And for a stock like Main, that typically is going to yield on the lower end of things 6%, to up on the higher end of things, maybe 8.5%. 2% dividend increase on a monthly payer is just fine with me. So there you have it, you all. These are the 4 stocks that increase their dividends that this channel covers anyway in the month of May. Let me know if you guys own any of these stocks right now. Are you purchasing any of them at this point in time? I'm still adding to my Pepsi position gleefully with the yield comfortably above 4%. Main Street Capital, I have a small position in Main Street Capital in my Roth IRA. That's where I personally prefer to keep any real estate or BDC stocks like Main Street Capital is in particular. The dividends just aren't qualified income, which simply means that if they're in your normal brokerage, the tax advantages on the dividends just aren't as good as they're going to be for Pepsi, Lowe's, Medtronic, anything that's not real estate, BDC, or MLP. Yeah, I've got a very small position in Main Street Capital in my Roth, less than 20 shares. You know, not anything too exciting, but every single month it drips a few more dollars into the position, and those special dividends come through, and I'm very happy to go from 25 cents to 25.5 cents a month on that position. If Main Street Capital ever looks cheap, I'll certainly be happy to trickle a little bit of money into that Roth IRA to add some to that admittedly small position. But even if I don't get to here for a little while, at least that drip is increasing that share count very, very gradually as well. I'm going to be holding Main Street Capital for decades to come. So I'm very happy with this one. They have never cut their dividend, and they have consistently increased that monthly payment ever since they began paying out a dividend back in the 2000s. All right, everybody, that's the video for today. Keep on adding to that passive income, and I hope you're having a nice weekend.